Hello, 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 and welcome all you brilliant people that click the link. All you brilliant people that are going to come in and tune in to this first episode of Detangling the South. Y'all, I am so excited right now. First of all, let me say this. This tonight was just incredible. I swear this was an absolute dream. The conversations, the TED Talks, the breadth. We talked about economics. We talked about mentoring Black girls. We talked about organizing Black women. We talked about what it's like to have parents in prison. We talked about everything, and that's just skimming the surface. We ain't got into what we get into tomorrow, when we're going to talk about legalization of marijuana and radical lawyering and understanding the legislature, and we have a comedy show and yoga and health and demystifying the myth of the Black woman. It's all there tomorrow. So those of you that tuned in today, y'all got some good stuff. Thank you. Tune in tomorrow because it gets even better. But tonight, I am just really excited about this project. When I had said that we were Citizen She, we're doing, we're rocking with, the Detangling the Vote. Y'all had seen that conference, that was another collaboration with Citizen She, Detangled the 4910 Rosalie Productions. That was, we did that. And then we decided to take a road trip. And it was really interesting because we talked about doing a road trip, and I initially thought that the road trip should be just a bunch of Facebook Lives. We stop at some places. It's going to be dope. And Damian D. Smith, as our creative director and visionary, said, nah, we're going to make something else out of it. He said, but you need a co-host if we're going to do this thing. And I said, you know what? You're right. And I thought about who was brilliant, also beautiful, because, you got to have beauty and brains. And I remembered my friend, Faye Matthews. We have had so many incredible conversations about civic engagement, what it looks like for Black women to move in this space unapologetically. I will say I have asked this woman to run for office more than I would like to count. She tells me no every time. One of these days, I'm going to get her to say yes. So y'all keep asking her, and maybe one day she will. But I asked her, I sent her an email, and I said, hey, Faye, call me. And she called me, and I said, I explained a little bit about the road trip, and she goes, oh, so you want me to quit my job for a week and take this road trip with you? And I said, yes. And she goes, bet. Where do I sign up? And there she was. And so really, really grateful to have my friend, colleague, and just all around amazing human in this world, navigating this world, brilliant environmental attorney, Faye Matthews. Faye, where you at, girl?
Hey, Nia.
Hey!
I'm so honored to be here with you. And I will say all things right back at you. Beauty, brilliance, just the epitome of beautiful, Nia, right? From the inside out, everything about you, your heart. I admire everything about you. I will start by saying that, and say that I was completely honored when you actually texted me. I remember the story a little bit differently. You texted me 2 days before, or maybe even the night before, right? You were scheduled to leave the next morning. And I remember thinking, right, this is the year of 2020. This is the year, right, of the pandemic. This is the year of like everything is changing, everything's shifting in so many ways, right? We've had the racial awakening, right, which has been for us, for Black people, right, it's been really an epidemic.
That's right.
For a long time, right, forever, right? So, but 2020 is the year, right? It's an election year. So for me, saying yes to you and saying yes to that was completely my honor, and I would do it all over again. Where are we going?
Oh, we going back. We got projects. Between me and Damien, the crazy brains, something's gonna happen. And speaking of Damien, what I'm saying? I'm sorry. He likes to be in the background, but I got to bring him up because he is the director of this incredible piece. Damien, can we see your face a little bit?
What's up, good people? How y'all?
There he is. Damien, what was it like doing this incredible journey with Me and Faye.
No, it was a great time. I had a great time. It was an interesting experience that I had that cannot be duplicated. I promise you that. From us traveling across the United States, the conditions, the laughs, the struggles of getting things situated, getting misidentified, at 3 a.m. at a gas station. So it was a whole experience.
Childish
Yeah, that was good. Well, it was a whole experience. I'm really blessed that we was able to go on this and then also tell these stories that's out there now. So I just can't wait. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more conversation afterwards, but I can't wait that people see this first episode and be able to enjoy themselves and maybe see a little bit of themselves in this story and all the stories.
I love it. But Damien, the reality is that people hear me talk all the time, and they're going to hear me and Faye talk throughout this entire piece. And so, as the director, and honestly, Damien has sat with this piece for the last year and a half. Y'all give him blessings because he gets to hear me ramble nonstop daily. And so, Damien, I'm going to ask you to introduce this first episode.
Okay. What we're doing this first episode is Detangling the South, the the New Orleans episode. And we focus on a very prominent and influential woman in New Orleans, which is part of the Dookie Chase family, Miss Leah Chase. I just cannot wait for everyone to get a chance to check this out, and we can talk more as we get through this everything. After we see it, after the screening, let the work and let the story do the talking for you. How about that?
I like it. I love it.
You love it? You like it? How you feel about that?
I like it too.
You like it too?
I'm really excited for this, y'all.
You're really excited? Okay. Me too. You sure?
But you've been sitting with this, right? You've had the chance to watch it over and over and over again. I hope that this experience is as fulfilling as all of the times before.
All right. Gotcha. It is. It's a fulfilling experience. Well, listen, we're going to talk about it more. I'm about to hit play. How you feel? Everybody all right?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Here we go.
You're ready.
Here we go.
We ask right now for justice in this year. We ask right now for justice at the polls. May there be no more divisions. May there be no more annihilation of people. May there be no more killing of black people.
Meet Nia Weeks and her friend Faye Matthews. They're two lawyers on a journey to detangle voting rights, past, present, and future in the South.
See you on the journey. I am the daughter of Wanda Anita Gasper. I am the granddaughter of Isabel Gasper. They rest together not far from here. While my mom was here, she taught me that if I loved my own children even a little bit, that meant that I loved everybody in the world just as much, because we all interact and react to each other. We all encourage each other. We're all a part of each other's life story. Tomorrow, I get to embark on an incredible journey across the South. Selma, New Orleans, Birmingham, Atlanta, and Miami. Honoring black women who have paved the way for all of us in this country. Join us as we take this incredible adventure. Getting us to vote is more than just November 3rd. It's more than just one day. It's about building a policy agenda where everyone can live free. Join us as we embark on this journey. Show up to vote, and then show up the next day as we build this agenda. We build a better world for all of us, honoring what my grandmother taught my mama, what my mama taught me, and the promise that I gave to my children when they entered this world. See you on the journey. Leah Chase, world-famous Creole chef, bridging the gap between politics and palates. She converted her husband's family sandwich shop into Dookie Chase's restaurant in 1941, warming hearts, bellies, and minds alike.
My mother taught us to be a person for others. In her home, we watched her do everything. She had no idea of gender. Like, for example, a man could do it, but I can't do it. She could do anything a man could do and do it as well. We got to meet a lot of people throughout the United States through my mother's civic engagement, but it was always for a cause that was an institutional cause. supporting a hospital that would be there long after she was gone. She understood institutional building. It's so important to honor those involved in institutional building of black people in the United States of America, so that's what we're about. It's our third and fourth and fifth generation that stems from my mother and my father that we want to teach how important it is to be involved in civic engagement throughout the United States, and if we have a chance to do it throughout the world, because that's how things get better in life. We do not miss one opportunity to vote. My mother says we need to stir the pot and stir our voting rights to involve the whole community in getting out there to vote, because our basic rights of being human beings in the United States of America comes from exercising the right to vote. And we would have a lot of people who would come in here and also work with us to make sure we didn't forget the troubles that people went through for the right to vote, like John Lewis getting in good trouble, and freedom riders who would always come here and say that we need to be able to have every right that any other person in the United States has a right. And that also starts with our freedom to exercise our right to vote.
So whenever grandmother was cooking or stirring the pot, she was thinking of giving people the best that she could, to show them her appreciation for them of giving of themselves to us. So there was love, there was a lot of grateful and gracious tears that went into that pot, and she valued the slow cooking process and didn't want to rush anything. And that's the way she cooked, was the way she greeted people. She never wanted to rush an interaction or an engagement with someone. She wanted to meet you, to greet you, to learn more about who you are and what you were doing to contribute to the community, to society. So that pot was definitely reflective of who she was to her core. Dr. Francis, Dr. Norman Francis, who was the longest serving president over at Xavier University, brought then Senator Obama here. Grandmother would look at anybody and size you up, and if you didn't look as pleasantly plump as me, then she was worried about you. So of course, she was worried about his nourishment because she needed him to have that stamina, right? He's excited, he's tucking in his napkin so he didn't soil that tie. But my grandmother was walking up behind him as he reached for the hot sauce to put into the gumbo. So she had to correct him and say, you don't put hot sauce in my gumbo. You can put it in her gumbo, but it's the time, and it was an etiquette thing. You add your seasoning after you taste the way the chef has prepared it. So they had some fun with that over some time about the hot sauce going in the gumbo. And then there's another picture where you can see how easily he got out of trouble and backed it into good graces. We've always had the conversation about civic engagement and understanding the roles that leaders play and how it impacts everybody's life on different levels, how we all interface with decisions that those that we elect have to make. So this would have been a very trying time for her, but she would have remained hopeful. And grandmother, as you would say, if you read about her, she's quoted in saying several times that she feels as though she's changed the course of America over a bowl of gumbo. With the history of the restaurant was just like that bowl of gumbo, because we've always opened our doors to everyone. And when people would come and you're served a warm meal, then you're more settled to receive the conversation, the ideas, the thoughts that others bring. We may not all be on the same side of the table. We may all be of a different political group or entity that we represent. But together, when we talk, we find common ground and we can make the best decision for us all. So this election season, how it is, her thing would have been to make sure people vote so that their side and their thoughts are seen or noted or heard, so that our leaders can respect those and put policies and legislations in place for all.
Ashe Cultural Arts Center, founded in 1999. Their innovative programming connects human development and civic engagement through Afro-diasporic cultures and traditions. I found my second line shoes and kicked off the last day of early voting with good vibes, good times, and with a send-off blessing from New Orleans' own Mama Sula.
By the power of all that's holy, we come. In all the names that we call God, we come. By the power of our ancestors, we come. We thank you so much for this opportunity to vote. We thank you so much for this opportunity to do what our ancestors could not do. We ask right now for justice in this year. We ask right now for justice at the polls. We need every warrior and every enlightened being in the ancestral realm to come and help us in this election. We ask for every enlightened being to be on this planet to help us. May a circle of light be formed on this planet, and may we unify as a people. May there be no more divisions. May there be no more annihilation of people. May there be no more killing of black people. We ask for the mothers of creation to be here. May the mother stand up and stand for integrity. May the father stand up and stand for integrity. And may we all be unified in one spirit. May we be there in the polls today. May we show up strongly, and may we win this election, because intelligence must win. We say Ashe.
Cultural arts and music right here at Ashe. Asali, the new executive director, is here. And they're getting people to bike to the polls all day from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock tonight. Early voting, these lines are long. These lines are so long. Last day of early voting in Louisiana, we're making it happen. We're almost at 80,000 voters during early voting in Louisiana. So we're about to go tip that number. We're trying to reach 90,000 today. So here we are biking to the polls. Biking to the poll, I ran into my dear friend and business partner, Judge Angel Harris, who at the time was campaigning for her current seat in Orleans Parish District Court, Section L. Yes, to black women in the courtroom. So we are in New Orleans, Louisiana, outside the Smoothie King Center on the last day of early voting. This line is insane.
It's crazy.
I'm here with Angel Harris, who is not only my dear friend, she's my business partner. We own an organization, the Black Women's Lawyer Collective. Why don't you tell them what the Black Women's Lawyer Collective is?
So we started the Black Women Lawyers Collective because as lawyers, we have to take what are called continuing legal education courses. But what we noticed was, one, that most of those courses were taught by white men.
Yes.
And also the topics never covered the intersectionality between race and gender. And when we talk about the criminal court system in particular, there are a lot of issues, with black women and girls in the system because of that intersectionality. But we also realized there wasn't an analysis around economic disparity.
New Orleans is the incarceration capital of the world, and so we were at the heart of that for quite some time. Angel, our clients, right? Like, why is it important to vote with and for our clients?
So I think a lot of people don't realize that they can actually vote to impact the criminal court system. So they know they can vote for the DA, but what they don't know is that they can vote for judges. And they also, there are lots of things that the legislature puts on the ballot that affects people who are entering the criminal court system. And I think that it's important for us to ensure that the players who are part of that system actually care about our issues. The current DA has done some really awful things that we've witnessed in our court. We've witnessed families being torn apart. We've witnessed lives being destroyed, particularly when we talk about the multiple offender bill and how that's been abused. I've had clients who literally I was fighting for their life because they had a joint under their hat because of prior convictions. And when you think about that, why should someone have to serve life in prison for a joint under their hat because of 2 or 3 crimes that they committed 5, 6, 7 years ago?
I always say, as attorneys, we sit at the intersection of white supremacy, justice, how people want to move. How important is it for attorneys, especially black attorneys, to be radicalized, right? And move people in that direction towards freedom?
I always find it interesting when people talk about radicalizing, because they say it as if it's a bad thing, but 2, I feel like it's not radical, it's right.
It's right,
And so that's what bothers me. Angela Davis has a quote. She says, radical is grabbing something at its root.
Yes.
And so that's what we have to do. We have to go to the root causes and we have to dismantle those systems.
Absolutely.
And so it's not radical, it's just what needs to be done. I've been practicing now for over a decade, and I'm still seeing the same problems in the system. And so I decided to step up, and really my whole platform is based focused on reimagining our criminal court system. So I'm saying the way that we're doing it is not working. So let's change that. Let's imagine a system that's rooted in rehabilitation and not mass incarceration. Let's start dealing with the root causes. And when we start doing that, that's when we'll have healthier and safer communities. And I just hope that I have the support of the people, and I know we can change things.
I have friends now on social media, that's all they talk about is going to go vote. That's all they talk about. Have you been registered? Did you mail it in? What are you gonna do? You need a ride? What time we going, girl? Oh, early voting is this day. Let's go here, let's go there. So I am very proud of the movement that they are creating. I don't think it's gonna die anytime soon. I think it's just gonna get better.
You know, when we talk about a movement, we're moving towards something. Where do you want to move towards?
The overall goal that I want to see obtained is to one day, and this is gonna take a while, I think, but we're almost there. We're working on it. The overall goal that I want to obtain is to not have to worry about my brother or my little cousins or anybody going outside at a particular time. Not have to worry about anything, be able to come back home. That's the goal I wanna see. That's the movement I wanna see. That's the change that I wanna see. I wanna see the equality, not only for the Black community, but for everybody. It needs to be equal for everyone when it comes to rights, fair pay, healthcare, education. I wanna see the equality.
What's happening, bro? What we on now? Ring time. Ring time.
And do Black men have our back? Let me tell you, this journey would have been nothing without our all-star production team led by our amazing director, Damian D. Smith. As much as I love to travel solo, I needed a sister-in-law, and there was no one better than Faye Matthews, a fellow social justice lawyer doing environmental law. Come on, sis, let's ride. So yay, road trip. We're embarking on road trip to be like, you know, yes. I love it. And also, like, Faye, like, I have to tell you, like, thank you for saying yes. Like, you and I have been doing this work in the same space, in this capacity for quite some time. Yeah. And it was...
Are we 55 years in?
We are 55 years in that Black women have the right to vote. Yep. That Black folks have had the right to vote. But Black women especially, and I say that because, you know, the Women's Suffrage March, and, you know, I don't get to feel that same pride when that day comes around. Like, I don't get to feel like, wow, I was actualized as a full citizen. I mean, we know as attorneys and like doing constitutional law that when We the People was written, we wasn't people.
We weren't people.
But now we have to contemplate policymakers that'll revert us back. And that's a whole different kind of consideration, especially...
Revert us back in
inciting violence.
On the border of a civil war.
You know, like, I think this entire campaign cycle, like, I've been avoiding that idea and conversation, but in the back of my head, knowing exactly how real it is. And I was like,
it's demoralizing. It is demoralizing. It's really demoralizing.
Intentionally demoralizing.
Intentionally demoralizing. I mean, we are finding ways to stop mail, not count ballots.
Yep.
Burn ballots.
Yep. Yep. And you know, it's interesting because like
close polling locations,
switch polling locations. You know, COVID. You know, we gotta keep people safe, and so you know, remove polling locations miles away just so we can have space and distance, and it makes sense, right? Like intrinsically, it makes sense, but the reality is, it's not being done in consideration.
We know what the intent is, right? Yep. The intent is to silence.
You know, I will say, like, I am super excited about going to Birmingham, and I spent a lot lot of time in Alabama, but I never got to honor her here.
Neither have I.
Yeah. You know, 16th Street. You know, we know the story. You know, we know of what happened that day.
Had to die.
But the reason why that church was moved was because they were organizing voting. Those 4 babies died because white folks were that angry about the idea of us participating in our own citizenship.
How dare you?
How dare you? It's been crazy. We've had so many things happen. But things have been happening to us for decades.
For decades. Black people are always in a pandemic. Like, we are always having the back of our head like that some shit's gonna go down.
Yep. Which is why.
So the pandemic for us is a pandemic.
Pandemic's a pandemic.
Pandemic's a pandemic.
But our lives are a pandemic.
Our lives are a pandemic.
Faye. Faye.
All I can say is wow.
Right?
Wow. The feeling that I had from the time that we stepped into the van, right, and went all the way to Miami, and came all the way back and ended at MSY. Right, wow. All over.
That's right.
So I got to say something to all the people at 4910 and our YouTube and Facebook page. I don't know what happened. It automatically sent me someone was trying to break into my Facebook account, and it blocked everyone from watching it on my Facebook, on 4910's Facebook and my personal Facebook. So I've been dealing with this whole Facebook issue for the last like 2 months. There's been someone hacked in my account. So I'm sorry to all my people at 49 and my personal social media accounts. We're gonna figure something out. But yeah. But we out here rapping. But yes, you said you felt what, Faye? No, I heard you. I'm just joking.
I would just say, wow, everything that I felt from the time that I stepped into Dookie Chase and then into the van, right? We stopped to get some snacks at Rouse's on Veterans, right? And then we stopped, right? We stopped along the way, and everything that I felt then, right? It's watching this video and watching this first episode. It's just bringing back all of those feelings
those
of
memories and everything, right?
Joy and sadness, right? Some of it's bittersweet, but
that's real.
Yeah, it was a great time. But you know, we were lucky enough to have right now one of the subjects that was part of the documentary, the docu-series, the lovely Brianna. She eloquently articulated her point in the first episode. So I'm gonna bring her up without any further ado. How y'all feel about that?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this one.
And there we go, Brianna.
Hey, Brianna.
Hi.
Hey, girl. Hey, Hattie, this is my birthday.
Hello, hey y'all, hey, it's been such a long time, but thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Hi.
Absolutely. I want you to know, Damien and I watched the interviews, and your interview blew us away from jump. It was so brilliantly executed. I enjoyed interviewing you. Damien enjoyed editing you. And so just
And I enjoyed watching Brianna.
I enjoyed meeting you.
It was great. It was great. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I'm going to ask a couple of questions, if I may so choose, Damien, because I have a couple of questions and I have questions for you too, right? And I think my first question is, why did you all decide to be a part of this project? I'm going to start with you, Damien, because you're the first one to say yes to the dress.
You say you're gonna start with Faye or me?
You.
I didn't catch the yes to the dress reference. I didn't know.
But you have to say yes. You're the first one to say yes to anything and all the craziness they know from jump. So you're the one who said yes and then took this to a whole nother stratosphere. So I got to start with you. Why?
Okay.
Why yes?
No, you know what? So initially when we talked about this conceptually and we were brainstorming about it, and like you said, initially we had some lives, and I knew that this story and the scope and how we can tell this story in a manner that has more gravity and it can resonate and live beyond a live and social media element. And I saw that these elements were coming into place, and I you know what, and they were coming into place in a way that I try to do all my stories, either if it's narrative or documentary. It's that if things are aligning perfectly, like if I'm reaching out to something and it's like, yeah, I got you, let's make it happen, and I'm making this and I'm calling these folks, and just out of nowhere something comes in and aligns up to make this happen, that means that's for me that's God trying to tell you something, and that's the universe aligning up and saying, hey, this is the goal and mission that you should be on, and use what talents that I have given you, or use whatever talents you have acquired as well throughout your journeys, and use that in the advancement for colored people. But seriously, the advancement of society in general. So that's why we wanted to focus on these episodes and also focus on the, some of the unsung heroes of the civil rights, the civil rights movement, the civil rights era, and oftentimes the women are overlooked and not properly credited for what their contributions are and was to civic movements. So that was another motivator for me to go on this journey and make this documentary, this docu-series happen in the manner in which I did.
That's real. Hey, why did you say yes?
I said yes to the dress.
Yes, Faye said yes to the dress.
Yes to the dress. So for me, I was in my house, right, not wanting to go stir crazy, and thinking about 2020 and what the 2020 election would mean for the country for a long time, for at least 4 years. But when you explained to me the project and the goal and the objective of actually telling the stories of so many Black women and just uncovering where Black women have been in a lot of ways, I want to say they've been objective myths, but not necessarily people. So their stories go untold until it's convenient, or until it's used to make a point, or until it's used for some other self-serving reason other than telling the story of the person who is amazing, right? So so many of these Black women have not only changed, their local community or their local conditions, they were trailblazers for the entire country.
That's right.
So for me, it was personal. As a Black woman, it was a personal journey, and I would say yes over and over again.
I love it. Thank you for saying yes. Brianna. So Brianna, that amazing cameraman was Brianna's uncle, and and so you were there just watching us, and I was like, no, I would like to interview you. I would like your perspective. And so when you were there, you weren't even expecting to be interviewed, and you also said yes to the dress. Why? Why did you say yes?
I saw an opportunity to be a part of something new, something creative, something I had not heard of, something that hadn't been done in my eyes, in my opinion. And then I saw a chance to be a part of something that, like Damien said, was going to be timeless. This is going to outlive a live stream. This is going to be something that can be shown again, and then we can see the change that happened from that. So this is my opportunity to be a part of that change. And I can see the change from the production from then till now. So much has changed, so much has happened in our Black community, and it's amazing to be a part of that. So thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Absolutely. In this episode, one of the things that resonates with me is the story, the way this story is told about Leah Chase. I ate at Dookie Chase restaurant for prom, right? Like that, and the Chase family, cousins have been a part of my life for a very long time. But to be able to, Disney even decided they want to tell the story of their version of Leah Chase. But there was something really special about the way this story of her was told in our city. And so, I wonder, because you were interviewed there, that's where we started. What was that part of how was that part reflected for you? Like understanding not just the Chase family, but Leah Chase as the matriarch. How did you all feel about that part?
Can I go? Okay, so for me, this was totally amazing. I had recently heard, because I'm not from Louisiana, I'm from Mississippi. If you can't tell by my accent, I'm country, so I don't know what, but I'm not from here. And I had recently heard of Leah Chase maybe a year or so prior to her death. A PBS show came out and she was on it. And I was saying to myself, I have to get over there. She's still around. I have to go over there. I have to see her. But unfortunately, she passed before I could ever make my way around there. So when my cousin said, well, we're doing the first episode at Dookie Chase, I was like, for real? I've heard about this woman. I've read about this woman. This woman is an icon in this city. What? I have to go. So for me, it was exciting to be a part of this and to actually get there and see so much culture. For those of you that are watching that have not been there, you have to go there to see the rooms, the art, the service, and it's amazing. The food. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Because we didn't eat while we were there. Actually, a Dookie Chase restaurant was actually probably the first place that I ever asked Faye to run for office. I took her to lunch there with my daughter Cameron.
With Cammie, yep. And Cammie won't forget it either. Tell Cammie, not yet, Cammie. Cammie, I hear you, Cammie, not yet.
But what did it feel like, Faye, to see that story told the way it was, and after experiencing being part of this journey?
So I will say, I too am a New Orleans native. I am born and raised in New Orleans. Grew up in the 7th Ward. Had a lot of experiences at Dookie Chase, including with you and Cammie that day that you were very, very, very aggressive, attacking me about running for office. But to actually step into Dookie Chase during the time that this project was being filmed, right, it was different for me. Something came over me. It was almost like a feeling of peace and understanding, right? Like I've been to this place before, right? I know what it means. I know what this place meant for the civil rights, during the civil rights movement, and how this place was. It served as a place of refuge for so many activists during the civil rights movement. But to be in that place and listening to Leah Chase's descendants speak of her and speak of the restaurant and just generally talk about how, she's impacted even through food, politics, right? She's influenced so much through a pot of gumbo. not just locally, but nationally.
That's right. That's right.
You got to be a badass to do that.
That's right. That's right. That's real. That's so real. Damien, I'm gonna come to you because you took the material and then you created the story behind it. And and watching each version of how this story grew has been incredible. I will say you all saw it for the first time tonight. I saw it for the first time last night, and it's just so there's so many pieces of it that are so touching. What was it like for you to film this story and then create the story behind the story and give us what we were able to see? What was that like for you?
Well, the experience was the experience was everything I expected, because I expected to hear some interesting and engaging stories, and unfortunately these are stories that I did not know, some of them, and which I should have known, or these stories should be in the lexicon of conversations that should associated with the civil rights movement that it's not. So that was one of the reasons that we went on this journey to, again, highlight those stories that are underserved and undervalued. So I knew that I was going to hear some really interesting stories. It's just that when you actually in the place, you actually hearing it and you're actually dealing with it. That's what's the part that surprised me. That I was hearing and seeing these perspectives that I knew that was going to be engaging to the American audience. I mean, sorry, I put it way too small. I knew this would be engaging to the world, because we don't know. I don't know these stories. I don't know these perspectives. We don't. We need to talk about these things, and that's why when we were putting it together, going editing through all the phases, and then also the other elements to enhance the story and help further illustrate the story. Like, for example, the when we did when we did Leah Chase, and she was standing outside of the restaurant, and they were talking about the stuff that she's fundamental and foundational. I said, you know what? Let's make her electric, baby. She's a superstar. We got to make her a superstar. So even that process of recognizing the contribution and say, hey, we need to recognize this contribution and do something about it. So let's add something to let people to further emphasize or double down on how much of a badass she was. So that those were the hidden gems, like hidden Easter eggs that I was able to value while putting this story together, and while I was in the process directing and us producing this story and making it happen.
I appreciate that, and I will also have to say, Damien, the one thing that I appreciate about this piece, today I was walking outside City Park, reflecting on what this weekend was going to be, and had an extremely emotional reaction, because one person that I wish were here to be a part of this is my mom. And it's very hard. As beautiful as all this is, it's really hard for me at the end of this day to not go curl up next to her and for her to rub my hair and tell me how good it was. So for this journey to start off with her and honoring the answers, our ancestors are here. One of the things that I recognize through this journey of making this piece with you is that the ancestors were begging us to tell their stories, and they were holding us. We went through a hurricane. I don't think
the hurricane. Oh my God, we were being chased by a hurricane, running from a hurricane. Oh my God, yeah. Yep. We went through a lot to make this happen.
That's right. You drove to the hurricane. Faye drove to Miami. Them 9 hours. Y'all would not let me drive because apparently y'all think I can drive, which I can't. But
we wanted you to rest.
I'll receive that. I'll receive that. But I'm gonna ask you guys, because they saw this episode and they got a little taste, I like to get a little raw and dirty, so they got a little, just as a tip of, y'all can take that reference where you want, but they got a taste of what.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They got a taste of what.
I'm with Damien. Damien, I'm with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people know me. Everybody knows how I talk. So, but you all know what they're about to get, especially you, Damien. You know better than anybody what they're about to get. So knowing what that journey is, knowing what we've experienced, and knowing what we're about to put out in the world, just take that knowledge and tell people why they should tune in to all 5 episodes as they come out.
Well, Faye, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I will say that because they're interesting, and yes, it's the story of Black women, but Black women are not a monolith. Black women are special, and Black women, we have individual stories that are important for their own special reasons. And so lots of stories will be told, and it's worth taking the time to tune in to listen to each of these special stories separately, collectively, but separately. You won't be disappointed.
I'm gonna go to Brianna real quick, Damien. Brianna, why should young people tune in to these stories and pay attention to these stories?
Why should they not is the question, more so. But they need to know. They really need to know. You really need to know what's going on around your surroundings, your community. They need to know how to get more involved. They need to know what happened in the past, because it's not being taught anymore as it should. The stories are not being told, and they need to hear it. How are they going to move forward without knowing?
That's right.
So this is why they need to watch.
That's right. Damien, that has burned the midnight oil, editing, listening, thinking, and dreaming. Why? Like, I know why, but what else do we have coming to us, and why should we pay attention to it and be a part of this piece?
Well, one of the reasons I think people should watch, and is because these stories in each episode are revealing something that, one, I didn't even know. And to tell you the truth, I feel like I'm a pretty learned man. I know a couple things around here. I've read a couple books, traveled a couple places. I thought, I thought I knew some stuff. And then it just really, hit me like, wow, again, like, that's why I keep saying perspectives and these stories that were being told. I was like, wow, yeah, kind of maybe mention this, or I didn't know anything about this. And so I'm pretty sure that the audience who's going to watch this will be fully entertained, one, and because you two do a great job hosting and keeping everything going and engaging. And then two, it will be entertained, and then two, I'm sorry, repeat that. You will be educated. You will learn something that you might have not known, and it's always easy to put a little a little sweetener on your education and make you digest it a little better sometimes, especially for the masses in America. So let's I think it'd be something that people really want to watch. They really want to be engaged, and again, it's entertaining. There's two beautiful Black women leading the lawyers, actually,
right?
Black women lawyers leading the charge in talking to these people.
We had time, Neil. We had time.
Today.
We had time today.
That was the thing.
We had time that week. We had time.
We had time, and we had private chefs, so
All righty then.
It was an incredible journey. Damien, thank you so much for not just only like being the visionary behind it, but creating the story and creating the experience. Faith, thank you so much for being my partner in this, my co-host, my row, or what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say road dog and ride or die at the same time, and so it came out like weird. But like, thank you for being
together. Totally put them together. Mm-hmm.
They go together.
Man.
But you were that, and then some. Brianna, your perspective and your thoughts and bringing in young people, and just even like those moments of pause that you have. Beautiful, and added so much context and joy and goodness to this piece. All right, those of you all that tuned in, you got lucky. You may have a little bit longer to watch it. So if y'all got people that you want to see it, you got a little bit of time, but just know at some point y'all gonna go to click it and it ain't gonna be nothing to click.
Yes.
But there will be there's 5 episodes coming out fairly soon. We're going to be doing a journey across the South to each of the cities that we've gone to. This is a joint effort between Citizen She is my baby. 4910 Rosalie Productions is Damien's baby. We got a baby together, Detangled, and so so all three of those entities work together to ensure that Black folks are seen, Black folks are heard, and that our lives are restructured and changed, and the narrative around who we are and how we move, and that we tell as many stories as possible. So you all are going to get this story in mass, but y'all don't even know. There's a bunch more stories coming at y'all, so y'all get ready. This has been an exciting journey. Anything else, Damien, that I left out?
That's it for me. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to have panels starting early in the morning. West Coast time, but a decent time in the morning in Central. But it's going to be a fun-packed day. It's going to be engaging, great panels, special guests, some hilarious. This hilarity is going to ensue. I promise you. We just had this. Yes, I just can't tell you, but you'll see. Tomorrow you're going to have a great time. All right. That's it for me.
Awesome. Well, y'all have an incredible night. I know it's Friday night. I know people are going to get it popping. It's also Super Sunday coming up, so I know what New Orleans is about to do. I might go get in some of it myself, but I got to get ready for tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys the rest of the weekend.
Bye.